Ben, you're in the audience, right? There are Canadians who know where Utah is. I'm one of them. Um, when I saw this agenda, I guess a couple of weeks ago, I thought, man, the second day, the last day in the afternoon, I have to present. But I'm happy. This has been a fantastic conference. And I feel great because I have to go ahead of Nils, who, if you've never seen him present, is going to knock it out of the park. This guy's pretty awesome. And then another thing I want to clear up is this title, this strategic advisor thing. Even people within Oracle don't know what that means. Let me just explain what that is really quickly. I don't have anyone reporting to me. My role is really just providing insight and guidance to my boss, Catherine Blackmore. Many of you know who she is. And I work with a lot of different organizations within Oracle to educate them about customer success. And I also run the Voice of the Customer program. So Oracle, in case you don't know, is not a startup. It's a big global company. And what we're trying to do really is to revolutionize within the company how customer success is delivered. So that word radical, we were joking at breakfast with some people that it's an overused word, it's a marketing word, but the way we see it is, it's not so much radical from an industry point of view, although we like to think it might be. It's more about radical for Oracle. So, proceeding. We have rolled out a brand new model for customer success. I'm not going to talk specifically about each of these goals. You can read them for yourself, but largely they mean we're going to really pursue driving customer outcomes in a way that Oracle's never done them before, which is more proactive, automated, data-driven, customer-centric. And that last bullet is probably the most important bullet on this slide, which is by doing this, we see ourselves as the instrument for change within Oracle to drive an acceleration of our customers' goals so that other organizations within Oracle notice that and will absorb lessons from us. Catherine does a lot of these presentations these days to industry analysts, to organizations within Oracle, and this is one of her kind of classic slides where her mantra really is that bottom layer, success for every customer. She repeats that all the time, and she means it, and we've built the model so that we are intentionally focused on not segmenting our customers to say they deserve less service, these others deserve more. We're going to drive success for everybody. And the model is really two halves. What you have is, we're calling it Platinum, and that's a data-driven platform of service, mostly self-service, and it's rolled out to every single customer of our SAS applications for Oracle. It started in June, and so every customer gets that free of charge as soon as they license a product. I'll talk a little bit more about that. The other half of the model is advanced services, and the advanced services is a conventional customer success model which has an assigned CSM, and the difference being that these CSMs are a little bit more expert. We've put them through some accreditation process. We're charging a fee for these CSMs. So this slide is just a before and after picture. On the left, you see the conventional model we've been following up till June, which is a model which CSMs assigned to a lot of accounts. And you understand that model pretty well. Your CSMs are overloaded. They're focused on a reactive kind of engagement. So we flipped it, and on the right, you see the new model, which is really more around providing proactive support, different channels of communication available, success planning tools. And the big difference in this model is that customer support has now changed and transformed themselves and have stepped up and pulled away all the responsibility for service request management that our CSMs have had to do before. So platinum level service, This is a typical slide that we present to a lot of our internal organizations to educate them about what we're doing that's different. And what I like to point out here is the on-demand education. So Oracle University is part of this transformation. They've decided to provide free of charge a lot of education modules that they used to charge a fee for. So there's 2,000 out of the gate in June. Last week I learned they added another 1,000. So they have 3,000 free education modules for customers. Success planning tools are available within Platinum. So these are tools available on a self-serve basis for customers to go in and start completing planning tools. Advanced services, again, is that for-fee CSM, and really it's all about a higher level of expertise. So we put them through accreditation process all summer, a great way to spend their summers, but week by week they had to take a lot of training, and so they've been certified on the various pillars of our SAS applications, and now we are actually selling them into accounts. But underpinning all this is our philosophy that customers really do want to engage with us differently, and it's primarily through a digital means. So we're really building out a full portal that provides them with a lot of opportunities for self-serve, but also we are, transparently, we tell them this, we're pulling a lot of information about their experience whenever they use it. So we're collecting a lot of metrics to therefore produce a better experience for them and ultimately be very predictive. You can read this on your own later, but what I'd like to point out here are a couple things. Cross-organizational alignment was a big focus of ours to make this happen. So Catherine went out and did a lot of talks with a lot of C-level executives and also VP level, and I've participated as well to educate them about the importance of their partnership in this. And Mark Hurd really has participated very fully in this and has been endorsing this new model and did a joint press release with Catherine. So I want to talk about some big themes now, about how did we get there from here. Primarily, we want to start from a position of respect for all of our customers. So our customers are obviously our lifeblood. You can all say the same thing, because without customers, you really don't have the business. But underpinning that is a deep respect for our employees. If our employees are fully engaged, we believe our customers will be better served. And not only that, a more engaged employee will more fully participate in the evolution of this model. Shareholders are critically important for us. We believe that we owe it to them to do the best job possible, to deliver the best model possible, so that our customers can be fully successful. I've been in this customer success business for a long time. This firefighting stuff has got to go. It's just really a big drag on productivity and in mission accomplishment. So we've struggled for many years trying to figure out how to extract customer success managers from that business of fighting fires. We believe in this new model. We've kind of solved that because from the outset, we built it with success in mind and not failure. So we didn't build any process to handle fires. We pushed everything off to support with the endorsement of Mark Hurd. So all the leaders are in agreement. Support should be where service requests are completely handled. Customer success has completely left that game, which helps us to promote this strategy of let's eliminate all the bullshit jobs that we've had up to this point. This book, recently published, I read a review on it in the New Yorker. I thought it was pretty cool. And this guy talks about how a lot of the jobs we do these days are not dissimilar to factory jobs, jobs that people used to criticize, agrarian jobs, very repetitive. All the tasks are questionable, and we should actually be looking at all these things to see whether each of those jobs is important. So our focus is building this model to make sure all CSMs are doing fulfilling jobs. And so this schematic you see is from MIT, and it talks about these 4 spheres of work and how each of them have meaning or should have meaning. So the interactions you have with people, the tasks that you do should have meaning. The job itself should make sense to you. And the organization, its goals have to make sense for you as an individual. And if all those things converge, then that's holistic meaningfulness. A big element of our strategy has been research. And so you see this picture on the left is actually a bookshelf of one of my bookshelves. And I do a lot of reading of all the stuff in the industry, of course, customer success industry, but also about software and business. And I try to correlate different ideas and themes and then produce these strategy documents for the leadership team. So they understand kind of the latest thinking around customer engagement and what customers might find fulfilling in terms of the kind of model we're going to deliver. The picture on the right is actually just a picture from the New York Times. That's their New York Times book review room. So we do a lot of brainstorming, and we consider that actually a big part of our transformation. Brainstorming, it requires, when you think about it, when you're transforming, it requires a lot of courage. You have to be open-minded, and you have to have a clarity of purpose. If you have those things, then people will be more engaged and really try to help you produce the kind of outcome you want. Testing, when I talk about testing, I'm not talking about application testing or code testing, and those are vital, but when I'm talking about testing with this new model, I'm talking about voice of the customer. So voice of the customer is a very key element of ours. So we go out and listen to our customers, ask them questions, position our forward thinking with them. So we don't take this so much what did you think of what we're doing? We're actually, what do you think about what we're going to do? So we present that to our customers and get their feedback. 1-hour interviews, typically. So this is Catherine's job, win the C-suite. And she goes around and talks to the various leaders within Oracle. Spends, I think every week, she has a meeting with Mark Hurd to provide updates, get some feedback. And that's really how she was able to position this new model as the right way to go for Oracle and as a path forward for the company to really start looking differently at how to engage clients. It's not a trivial task. You know, she's got a lot of experience in the industry, of course, but this has been a new kind of way for her to exhibit her talent around diplomacy and winning allies. Communicate and evangelize. This is a key part of our strategy. We've been very purposeful about promoting this model to our customers, of course, but to the industry. And so we like to do these kinds of events. We do a lot of communication over social media, thought leadership pieces, a lot of blogging. And we find this is a kind of a strong element of our ability to kind of spread the word that it's not the same old Oracle. We're thinking differently. But more critically is actually communicating and evangelizing internally. This is a big part of my job, is to go around, talk to the various customer success teams, but also sales teams, marketing teams, product teams. Spend a lot of time on conference calls, educating them about our new model, what's the goals. And what I found really gratifying actually is going around to our, we call them hubs of our younger demographic of customer success managers, and educating them about the why. Why are we doing this? What's our long-term strategy? Get a lot of great feedback from those people afterwards, and I think it really inspires them to hear that longer-term strategy. So involving critical stakeholders. If we didn't do this piece, this would fail. This model of ours would fail. If we didn't involve sales, the sales operations team, if we didn't involve the product teams so that they understand what our goals are, if we didn't involve, obviously, customer support and our education organizations, if any of those people had not been involved in this and bought off on this and participated, this would have failed. And so I really want to emphasize this point, is that you can't get away with any shortcuts on this model of really doing things differently. So I guess it's important to point out now, with a big company like Oracle, and again, we're just talking about the SaaS applications. I don't know what percentage of our business is actually comprised of that. It's not the lion's share of Oracle's business, but it's the fastest growing part of the cloud business right now. And so we need to do this with a lot of rigor. So Catherine set up an organization, a strategy organization that I'm part of, but also an operations organization that is responsible for managing all the projects. So she's got program managers, project managers, and they are fantastic at driving all the work streams, producing all the communication, making sure everyone understands what needs to be done. That office is vital to this effort to make sure we're actually achieving our goals. Building with agility. So this really, building with agility, we have a digital experience team that's developing the front end, and they're building it really from the customer's point of view. So I'm participating in terms of the voice of the customer. So we validate their ideas and their work, and so they're collecting a lot of data about the customer's experience and making sure they're iterating around that. And so they will develop with agility and then produce the next iteration. And we go through that cycle of validating our product. So dreaming, lofty statement, I know, but this is really something we try to keep in mind, that we always have to imagine our future. We're pretty proud of what we've accomplished to date, which is, again, this platinum model for all customers, data-driven. It really is just the first step of maybe 10. And we keep reminding people that what it will look like in 2 or 3 years is not what it's going to look like now, or what it looks like now. So it requires us to imagine. So just because I'm a strategy guy doesn't mean I'm the only dreamer. So I do a lot of these conversations with people, try to collect ideas. And the dreaming aspect is something I think really inspires people to do more. I think they want to be engaged, and to see that word in front of them, I think it gives them license to participate. But ultimately, if you really want to improve the odds of success for this kind of an endeavor, where you're really transforming your model from a product focus to really more about the customer, you really have to listen. The voice of the customer for us is absolutely critical. It's a major way for us to ensure we're not being arrogant, that we don't have all the answers. We should know that we're not overly prescriptive, and that we involve our customers to the extent that they feel like they have a stake in our new approach. And so, I mentioned earlier about the 1-hour interviews. We keep going with this thing. We've got about 40, 50 customers on a roster of people that we schedule for interviews. And we cycle through different topics on every 6 to 8 weeks. We do set up about 12 different interviews, go through that, compile the results, produce a report that helps the leadership team understand, okay, this is what the customer's thinking. Is it aligned with what we're thinking? And then we just build out accordingly. So I can't believe I rifled through this presentation in 21 minutes. But I guess I want to leave that with you, is that major transformational change at a big company like Oracle is possible. It takes a tremendous amount of intelligence, though. And I don't mean just human brain power. I'm talking about actually going out and collecting intelligence about how your customers are behaving and what they're expecting. And so our model will be continually built out to go out and proactively collect information about those customers and their desired goals, and we'll keep building out this platform accordingly. And I'd like to thank you for your attention.
Awesome.
Mike, go ahead.
I got you.
You talked about. There we go. I don't need that beatbox. So you talked about evangelism, which I think everybody, independent of every stage, has to do. Whether you're a small company, in terms of what is this thing we do, why do we do it?
Yep.
You and I've had lots of conversations about how much we do it both internally and externally, and a lot internally. What would you, for the audience, do you have any recommendations on best practices as kind of driving that communication and building awareness in the organization? Independent, if you're a small company, big company, I think it applies to everybody.
Yeah, thanks, David. I think if you're going to evangelize internally, it helps that you come equipped with industry data points, some research that will support your point of view. I think, when you're inside a company, people think of you differently than they would of an outsider. There's almost more respect for an outsider. So, but you're inside, they kind of know who you are, that you're within an organization, all of a sudden they have this perception of you. And I think to overcome that sort of perceptional hurdle, I find it invaluable to come equipped with like information from McKinsey or Bain or Boston Consulting Group, those kinds of things. And it tends to really immediately kind of set the tone of the conversation so that people become, I believe, you can almost hear it on the phone, a little bit more open-minded. And I think they're more willing to listen at that point, that you're not just some person within the company like they are who pretends that they know any better than them. Did that answer that question? We have a few more minutes if there's any more questions. I'm happy to entertain them.
Any other questions? All right. Oh, well, yep, right here. Ari.
Ari?
Where do you get your shirts?
That would be an Ari question.
Yeah. Seriously?
No, here's a real one.
So what pushback have you had in this process? What's been the hardest thing?
Yeah, good question. Lots of pushback. At Catherine's level, and I'm sorry if I keep sprinkling the conversation with her name, but she's been so integral to this whole thing. And really, it's her vision that we're playing out here. At her level, the pushback has been from leaders, not Mark Hurd, but the leaders surrounding him, who've had to, maybe, I haven't spoken with them, but I'm imagining that they probably felt there's some competition there. Maybe she's kind of jockeying herself accordingly, and there's kind of, there's not necessarily no knives out, but I think there's this effort that she had to make to disarm some of that and reorient people's thoughts and views to be about the customer. It's not about Oracle's kind of leadership team. But beneath that level, I've had a lot of conversations with VPs and directors and people like that who, when they heard about this model, were furious is too strong a word. Upset is a good word. they thought we're pulling away CSMs and how dare you, it's going to upset everything, it's going to destroy our NPS, it's going to blah, blah, blah. But once I explained the model to them around the digital approach and that we validated actually this approach with customers, that we've actually asked customers point blank, given the choice, if we provide you with a platform where we're collecting information about you and we turn it around and provide you with service and content that you did not expect, but it proves valuable to where you are in the journey, would you rather that or a CSM? And they said, if you can deliver on that first piece, I don't need a CSM. That's exactly what we've heard many times. We're not delivering that now, but that's the vision, and we've established the foundation. So I guess to answer your question, sure, lots of resistance, very high level, resistance at the medium level, which I've hopefully managed to diffuse through that kind of a education campaign.
All right. Final question.
Sure. So through your organization, does the previous CSMs executing the function, there was resistance or the fear that they're losing value?
Yeah, I'm glad you're asking that. That's a really important question, actually. And I intentionally didn't put that in this because I didn't think I'd have time to deal with it, but I'm glad you brought it up. Because yes, we've had a lot of attrition. I'll be really transparent with you guys. Tons of attrition. And that was what Catherine predicted 2.5 years ago. When she first announced we're going to move on this mission, she told people in their all hands, we're going to lose a lot of people through this. And despite the fact she's an excellent communicator, she's transparent all along the way, people make their own conclusions, right? And they believe this new model will eliminate their jobs. It'll eliminate the old model jobs, not the new model jobs. So we're hiring just as many as people have left. So the new model requires a different flavor and look of a CSM, more data-driven, more analytical. Tends to be younger because people are embracing it at a younger age. So yeah, we've lost a lot of senior talent, but the ones that remain have gone through the accreditation process, and they seem engaged. We're actually embarking on a Voice of the Employee program now to make sure we pay more attention to those kinds of clues and signals. We want to keep our good talent, for sure. We need to listen to them as well.
Awesome.
I guess that's it. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Peter, great job. Awesome. Thank you.